Hello, my name is Jennifer, and I would like to present to you today a short video about supply and demand as it is in macroeconomics. Today, the topics presented in this video will be the introduction. I will talk to you today about supply. I will talk to you about demand. I will talk to you about how supply and demand work together. Equilibrium, disequilibrium, and shifts versus movement according to supply and demand. For the introduction, we want to know why I chose supply and demand. They do make up an economic model of price determination in a market. Simply put, it means that in a competitive market, the unit price for a particular good will vary until it settles at a point where the quantity demanded by customers at the current price will equal the quantity supplied by producers at a current price, resulting in economic equilibrium for price and quantity. I will now explain each item for you. What is the law of supply? Supply is how much the market can offer. The quantity supplied refers to the amount of a certain good producers are willing to supply when receiving a certain price. The law of supply can easily be illustrated in a graph form. The price is illustrated along the vertical axis of the graph, and quantity supplied is illustrated along the horizontal axis. As the price increases, the quantity supplied also increases. When there is an increase in quantity supplied, but no change in price, the line will shift to the right. Price is illustrated along the vertical axis of the graph, and quantity supplied is illustrated along the horizontal axis. When there is a decrease in quantity supplied, but no change in price, the line will shift to the left. Price is illustrated along the vertical axis of the graph, and quantity supplied is illustrated along the horizontal axis. This doesn't change. What is the law of demand? Demand is how much the market wants to consume at a certain price. Generally speaking, the higher price of a good, the less people will demand that good. The law of demand illustrated. The law of demand can be easily illustrated by a graph, just like supply. For a demand graph, the price is illustrated along the vertical axis of the graph, and the quantity supplied is illustrated along the horizontal axis. When the price increases, the quantity demanded decreases. When there is an increase in quantity demanded, but no change in price, the line will shift to the right. Price illustrated along the vertical axis of the graph and quantity supplied is illustrated along the horizontal axis. When there is a decrease in quantity demanded, but no change in price, the line will shift to the left. And as always, the price is illustrated along the horizontal axis. There are two exceptions to the law of demand. The demand curve is generally downward sloping, but there are rare examples of goods that have upward sloping demand curves. Giffen goods, an inferior but staple good, or Vauban goods, goods made more fashionable by a higher price. How supply and demand work together. The best way to explain the supply and demand relationship is with examples. Imagine that a special edition DVD of your favorite movie is released for $20 because the record company's previous analysis showed consumers will not demand DVDs at a higher price than $20. Only 10 DVDs were released because the opportunity cost is too high for suppliers to produce more. If, however, the 10 DVDs are demanded by 20 people, the price will subsequently rise because, according to the demand relationship, as demand increases, so does the price. Consequently, the rise in price should prompt more DVDs to be supplied, as the supply relationship shows that the higher the price, the higher the quantity will be supplied. If, however, there are 30 DVDs produced and the demand is at 20, the price will not be pushed up because the supply is more than the accommodates demand. In fact, after the 20 consumers have been satisfied with their DVD purchases, the price of the leftover DVDs may drop as DVD producers attempt to sell the remaining 10 DVDs. The lower price will then make the DVD more available to people who had previously decided that the opportunity cost of buying the DVD at $20 was too high. When the supply function and demand function intersect, the economy is said to be at equilibrium. At this point, the allocation of goods is at its most efficient because the amount of goods being supplied is exactly the same as the amount of goods being demanded. At the given price, suppliers are selling all the goods that they have produced, and consumers are getting all of the goods that they are demanding. In the real marketplace, equilibrium can only ever be reached in theory, so the prices of goods and services are constantly changing in relation to fluctuations in demand and supply. Disequilibrium occurs whenever the price or quantity is not equal to P or Q. If the price is set too high, excess supply will be created within the economy and there will be an allocative inefficiency. The suppliers are trying to produce more goods which they hope to sell to increase profits, but those consuming the goods will find the product less attractive and purchase less because the price is too high. Excess demand is created when price is set below the equilibrium price. Because the price is so low, too many consumers want the good while producers are not making enough of it. There are too few goods being produced to satisfy the wants, demand of the customers. However, as customers have to compete with one another to buy the good at this price, the demand will push the price up, making suppliers want to supply more and bringing the price closer to its equilibrium. For economics, the movements and shifts in relation to the supply and demand curves represent very different market phenomena. A movement refers to a change along a curve. A movement denotes a change in both price and quantity demanded from one point to another on the curve. The movement implies that the demand or supply relationship remains consistent. A shift in a demand or supply curve occurs when a good's quantity demanded or supplied changes even though the price remains the same.